It's a good day today because I have with me the new Sonia G Mini Keyaki Set Volume 2. Yay! Look at that. Look, they look so pretty. They look small. Yes, they are, but oh my god, they look absolutely wonderful. And before I continue with this video, I would like to say a huge thank you to Sonia G. Yes, the Sonia G, for having this sent over via Beautylish. I am so grateful, and when Sonia G actually reached out to me, I was like, I was so shocked. And other than that, I'm very, very grateful because I'm a huge fan of hers, and I've met her, and she is a very kind, loving, and a generous woman because she's very giving with her knowledge about brushes. So thank you so much, Sonia G, for this. I truly appreciate it. And this is very special for me because I actually missed out on her first release of her mini Keyaki set. And the main reason why is because in Beautylish, when I order things, because I live here in the Philippines, there's actually a spending cap. So the first release was a little bit over the spending cap. That's why I wasn't able to get that. But I did really want to get that because I have an affinity for travel-sized brushes like this. And I think you've seen me show you guys one of my early travel brush sets that I had collected years ago in my vlog about doing my friend Maricar's makeup when I went to celebrate her birthday with her in Spain. And the reason why is because there was a time in my life when I could only afford to buy travel brush sets in like mini sizes, and that still rings true today. And if there's someone who actually asks me like, oh Torre, I need I want to start a brush collection, things like that. So I always tell them it's not necessarily Fude, but I always tell them that if you have a brand that you like, that you follow, do hang around during the holiday season in their website or in their boutique, because they will always release some sort of like a travel brush set during that time, and that's actually a great introduction into getting to know the brushes from a brand and if they will work for you and with the products that you have in your collection. And in me saying that, if you are someone who's new to Fude or who's new to the Sonia G line, having this mini Keyaki set is a very nice introduction because it will just show you what Sonia G is very passionate about, and it is about brushes. Now, the mini Keyaki set volume 2 has a set of 5. 3 of these has mixed fibers, which is these, and 2 of these have natural goat-haired bristle brushes. So we'll be talking about these brushes one by one, okay? So hang in there with me. So Sonia G's Keyaki set comes from the name of the wood that is used in the handles. There's a substantial weight to them, but they're still very light. Of course, the biggest brush, the jumbo base brush, is actually the weightiest brush. There's a certain weight to it, but it's still very light and it's very comfortable in the hand. So it's the size of my palm. So it's, I think, around 5 inches maybe. So if we look at it here up close, we can just see how very nice and smooth the handle is, and we have the Sonia G logo here, and at the back we have the name and of course the stamp of Japan. And the ferrule has a very nice matte black color, and it's actually pinched here close to the top, and this is how the brush head looks like. So from the top it looks like it's a little bit ovoid, but if you look at the side, you can see the way the brush head flares out, wherein it blooms in a certain way, but the length is very different, wherein it's a little bit rounded here in the shorter portion in this part, and and as it gets longer it gets flatter, and then it blooms into a much more wider sense here at the back portion of the brush head. And truthfully, this is the first time that I'm having this jumbo brush base from her, because remember when she released her Fusion series, she also released this kind of a brush in that set. So when that was released, I actually didn't purchase the jumbo base brush, mainly because I just found the brush head to be very, very big, because I prefer to work in smaller areas of the face, because sometimes I don't really cover the entire face with foundation. But now that I have this in my possession, I'm actually very happy with the size of the brush head. It's actually able to fit into specific areas of the face, like and then I can feel that it's also very, very soft, and it's not prickly, and it doesn't, I don't feel like, there are some brushes when they're very, very compact and they're very thick and they're very big. When you start pouncing the brush head on your face, you feel a certain pressure and it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. I don't feel that with this at all, so I'm mighty glad for this brush head. Now, for the brush head, it has a way, if you keep on pressing it, it has a way of, following the natural contours of your face. So at least we now know that if we press it in a certain area, it's able to deliver foundation or, color into that part. Very, very interesting. Okay, so this is the jumbo base. Alright, next we have the soft face brush, and look at the texture of the handle here. It's still very, very smooth. You can't really feel any texture at all, but you can just actually see it. And the ferrule here is not pinched, and that's why the brush head here actually blooms in a very nice rounded manner, as you can see it here from the side and even here on the top. I like that it's actually a circular kind of a brush head. I love this. It actually kind of reminds me of her soft cheek brush. So if we put them side by side, they almost look very similar. Although the soft cheek brush that I have here hasn't bloomed fully because I kept it in a brush guard. But eventually, over time, the soft cheek brush will actually bloom just like how the soft face brush here of the mini Keyaki set. Now, in terms of texture, I could actually say that the soft face brush is denser and it has more strength than the soft cheek brush. I'm sure you guys can see the difference just by tapping the brush head alone here at the palm of my hand. Now, the other thing that the soft face brush from the mini Keyaki set reminds me of is actually a Yachio brush if we put them side by side. Now again, this Yachio brush from Chikuhodo hasn't bloomed fully yet because I kept it again in a brush guard. But eventually, over time, this would actually bloom in a much more wider sense, maybe at the same bloom that this soft face brush from the mini Keyaki set has. Now, if we look on top, we can see that they both have a very nice circular design on their brush heads, and that's actually the reason why I'm actually liking the mini Keyaki set already, because I love rounded bristle brushes because I am able to apply a much more targeted color in a certain area of the face. And again, because of the way that this brush head blooms and there's a certain strength of the brush head, we know that we can actually use this for a variety of powdered products only. You're able to pick up a substantial amount, or even to break the surface to be able to transfer color into the cheeks. Alright, next we have the Jumbo Worker brush. Now, as you guys can see here, it's a very familiar looking brush, especially if you are a fan of the Sonia G brushes. And the main reason why I'm saying that is because it kind of looks similar to the Jumbo Concealer brush here, as you guys can see. But the main difference is the Jumbo Worker here from the mini Keyaki set. The brush head is actually longer and fluffier and airier in comparison to that of the Jumbo Concealer brush. So in me saying that, just by tapping the Jumbo Worker brush here on my palm, we can actually see that it's actually softer than the Jumbo Concealer brush from the Fusion series. Now, before I continue, by the way, the Jumbo Concealer reminds me of how the Jumbo base looks like and maybe acts like, because if we put them side by side together, we can see that the brush head designs are almost the same. There's just a difference in density and also the way it blooms. But this is one thing that I have also observed about the Jumbo Concealer, is that when I first had it, I also told you guys that as soon as I start tapping the brush into my face in certain areas, it kind of retains its shape, the the pad of your finger, which also looks very similar to that of the jumbo base. So this makes these two brushes act like your fingertips, and it makes it easier to actually control the product onto the face. And it's because of this experience, I think I'm going to be enjoying using the jumbo base brush. So I think I might have to get this in the Fusion series as well, so that I have a pair. So anyway, I digress. Okay, next we have the detail brush. Now the detail brush reminds me of how a pencil brush looks like. Even like the brush head design here, like, you know, it tapers into a point. And one thing about this brush is that it's again made of like natural goat hair fibers and a mix of synthetic fibers. So at least we know that we can use this for different types of product. I can see that this can actually be used, like, you know, to apply concealer in very, like, you know, specific areas, like here in the inner corners, or you can use like this to apply like highlighters here in the high points of the face. And also you can use this to apply, like, you know, very liquidy eyeshadows, like, you know, cream eyeshadows. It fits very nicely into the eye, and I can also see right now, and just by doing this, you can also, like, you know, apply color into the crease if you want to have more definition. So we'll try this later with some products so that we can see if that rings true. Now, in terms of comparison, I only have two of Sonia's pencil brushes here. So this is pencil 1 right beside the detail brush, and the other one is the Pencil Pro. I don't have Pencil 2 because it's been out of stock for quite some time, so I'm still waiting on that. Now the thing is, if we look at the length, the detail brush here is longer and it's airier. So it also blooms wider than the Pencil Pro and the Pencil one. So at least with the detail brush here from the mini Keyaki set, again, as I've said, you can use this to apply and blend out colors extremely fast. And it's actually very, very soft. I don't feel any prickling sensation again, and also the pressure that it applies on the face, especially here in the eyes, it's not uncomfortable at all. It's very, very soft, and it feels very, very luxurious. I'm so excited to try to use this. Before I continue, aside from the other pencil brushes, I'm just gonna show you guys here how it looks like beside my Mizuho pencil brush. And then this is the Chikuhodo detail brush, pencil brush from the Keramiki set. I'm just going to show you guys, like, you know, the difference in the brush head length. I think the Chikuhodo Keramiki set pencil brush backslash detail brush almost has the same length, but in terms of softness, they're almost the same, but the Keramiki is actually more tapered, and it's more pointy than the detail brush from Sonia G. So very interesting. I wonder, this makes me wonder now how this will actually apply like color and product into the eye. And finally, we have the crease brush from the mini Keyaki set volume 2, and I love a crease brush because they have been my go-to brushes ever since I started doing makeup. And after feeling this for the first time, I could sense that it's quite soft on the palm of my hand, but there's also a certain strength to it. There's a certain resiliency to it that will enable you to blend out colors quite well. I love the shape of the brush head. Again, if you look here on the top, it's circular. So at least, again, if you apply it, especially together with color here on the crease, you will be actually able to fill in the crease and also blend out the color well, like, you know, above your crease line and well below your crease line. So at least when you apply the color there, again, you're blending out and applying color at the same time. So again, minimizing the time that you need for application and blending. Now, in terms of brush head shape, so this is how it looks like beside the mini booster from the Sky series of Sonia G. So again, they look very different, but of course the mini booster is smaller, so you can have a much more detailed application of eyeshadow with a mini booster. But in terms of resiliency, of course the mini booster is stronger, like, you know, in terms of the sense of touch, than the crease brush from the mini Keyaki set. Now, what else do I have here? Okay, this is the classic crease brush. In comparison again, The classic crease, if you just tap my finger here on top, it feels very soft, but it also feels very resilient. In comparison to the crease brush from the mini Keyaki set, it is soft, but it is not as resilient, but it does have some strength in it. So I don't understand why, like, we're just tapping it. The main reason why the mini Keyaki set has a hint of softness and a hint of strength in it, because as a, travel eyeshadow brush, you need something that can actually work for you. So, because, if you're bringing only a very limited number of brushes, you have to have something that will work in more ways than one. So at least, again, as I said, you can actually apply and blend out colors with the strength of this brush head. So what else can I compare it to? Okay, so this is the J142 from Chikuhodo. Okay, they're almost the same, and if we look on top, again, they have that very circular brush head design. They almost taper the same way as they reach the top of the brush head, and the way that they bloom, when they reach their actual bloom size, they're almost the same. But the crease brush from the mini Keyaki set is softer than the J142 from Chikuhodo. Alright, so let's try these brushes one by one on my face, and let's see how well they will apply product. Okay, so today I'm going to be using my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation, and I'm going to be using the Jumbo Base, and the main reason why I actually wanted to try using a cream foundation, but according to Sonia G, you actually use the Jumbo Base for liquid foundations. That's what she actually designed it for. So I have it here on my cheeks, and I'm just going to blend it all over. Now, by the way, I'm shooting at a different angle here in my home office. It's because the weather has been not nice here in the Philippines, and at least in this angle, when I turn on my artificial light, I'm able to control the lighting more. And I think you guys have already noticed that the light has already changed outside. So I hope that in us doing this activity, it's still going to prove helpful for us. Anyway, so back to the brushes. So I can actually see that it's actually very easy to apply and to blend out the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. And I also like that, truthfully, on first pickup of the product with the Jumbo Base, it did apply quite a strong amount of color on my face, but it actually enabled me to blend out the color and to sheer it out accordingly. So that's very interesting for me, because I think I can actually build the coverage as needed, so which I am doing now. So I'm just pouncing the brush here on my nose to build more coverage. I don't see any streaking at all, which is nice, and it's actually able to build nice coverage on my face. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I actually want to try and apply foundation in my under eye area, just for the sake of doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the product using this part of the brush, and I'm just going to try to see if I could, yep, I'm actually able to reach the under eye area, and it feels very, very soft. There's no prickling sensation at all. I don't feel any pressure. At least in doing that, we now know that this brush can actually be, it can reach the hard to reach areas of the face. So I'm quite happy on how easy and fast it was to apply and blend foundation using this brush. Fantastic. Okay, so now I'm going to warm up my complexion a little bit, and I'm going to be using this Fenty cream bronzer, because I do have a little bit of a tan on. And I'm just going to pounce the brush here along my cheekbones. The way that I applied the pressure with the brush and the product, it's actually able to blend out the color already extremely fast. I'm quite amazed with that. Alright, so now I'm going to pick up a little bit of the color, and then I'm going to shift the way I hold the brush, and I'm just going to tap the bronzer here across my cheekbone, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I would like to blend out the color well into the lower portion of my cheekbones and blend it upwards and tap it again. Wow, it's very easy to actually apply the color and to blend it out. So this is how it looks like on this part of my face without the bronzer, and this is how it looks like with bronzer. Ooh, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna add some on this cheek now. Nice color. Then I'm gonna shift the way I hold it again, and then just apply and tap and blend. So I guess this is the best way if you're applying like, bronzer or like, brontouring. Shifting the way that you hold the brush, it just like, it has a way of cupping your cheekbone. That's very fail-safe in a way. So if you're someone who's very new to brontouring or contouring, this is actually a nice brush to have because like, it will just guide you accordingly. Especially if you're not sure about how intense you want your bronzer to be. This is a great brush to use. Okay, cool. Amazing brush. I like this brush. Okay, now for concealer, I'm going to be using the Instant Age Rewind from Maybelline today. And I'm going to be using my Jumbo Worker for this. So I pick up a little bit of it here. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Okay, I was actually able to apply and blend out the color extremely fast and extremely well. No patchiness whatsoever. Look at that, well coverage. Okay, that also is very, very light. Okay, let's try it on the other eye now for more balance. I was actually not thinking of using this brush for applying concealer, but I'm just doing it for the sake of this video because I think like, I can use this to apply cream blushes or liquid blushes on my cheeks. And I think you can also use this to apply like, contouring if you want to. But I'm not really a fan of contouring, so I'm gonna skip that. But what I'm going to do is I'm gonna use this now with cream blush. Okay, so I have this stick blush from On The Go Easy Beauty, and this is in the color Coral. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just like, brushing the brush head here on top of the blush stick. And I'm going to see if I'm actually able to pick up the pigment from this, and I'm able to actually transfer it and to apply it in a much more like, targeted manner here on the cheeks. And I can actually you can see the warmthness now of this color here on my cheeks. And I'm going to blend it out. Okay, that's very easy, very fast. So I'm going to add more intensity now. Because that's the thing with cream blushes. They melt extremely fast into the skin and they appear more skin-like. That's a very nice flush of color. Okay, it's actually very easy to blend out. Very beautiful. What do you guys think? Again, it bears repeating. Sonia G's brushes actually have a way of helping you apply and blend out colors extremely fast, extremely well, and extremely easy. Okay, and now that the blush is down, I'm going to be using my new favorite highlighter, and it's the Lisa Aldrich Seamless Skin Elevated Glow Highlighter in Solar Light. And I'm just applying a little bit of it here on top of my cheekbones, so you guys can see now. It's a very nice pop of color. And I'm also going to apply that here, and just here a little bit, and here, and here. So I'm just going to blend the highlighter now into the blush. Okay, not bad. Very nice looking natural colors, well blended, just the way I like them. Okay, so I actually want to set some parts of my face with powder, and I was thinking that I can actually use this to set my under eye concealer with some powder, but since this has already product on it, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to use instead my Chikuhodo F05 brush. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of this here in my under eye area just to set the concealer. Okay, so now I'm going to get the soft face brush. I'm going to be applying a hint of powder here on my cheeks because I want to use some powder blush. And it's useful. You can actually apply powder in specific areas of the face, and that's great for me because that's what I do anyway. Oh, and you can actually also use this to remove any excess powder here in the under eye area. Now, because the brush head here is quite small, as you guys can see, you can actually use this if you have finishing powders because they fit very well into the pan. Like example of this, ambient lighting edit mini from Hourglass, and if you want to use this to add some finishing touches on your cheeks, this is great to use. Okay, so this is my Viseart palette. Okay, so I'm actually able to pick up a nice amount of pigment here on my brush head, and let's just try to sweep it across. It's actually able to pick up color extremely well. What I've noticed is that this brush is actually able to apply the color, especially if you like building color slowly, which I actually do. And because it's so small, you're actually able to apply color in a much more targeted area. And it's also actually able to ride directly onto your cheekbones, which I actually love. So at least, again, that's a very fail-safe way of applying color into the cheeks. And especially now, with me, I don't like contouring much. And when I apply blush in a contouring manner because I prefer my blushes that way. Because sometimes if I use contouring not only on myself but on people I work with, I just avoid making them look muddy because that's what excessive contouring does anyway. And sometimes when you apply blush in a nice contouring fashion, that can already work well as a contour and as a nice color to add into the cheeks. Ooh, I love this brush. I love it. And the Viseart color that I use, this one is actually matte. So as you guys can see, it's actually able to apply and blend out the color extremely well. I am very impressed. Very nice. Okay, last, before we move on to the eyes, I'm just going to pick up this nice orangey color here from the NARS Orgasm on the Beach palette. And I'm just going to use this as a topper just to add maybe a nice hint of warmth and color into the cheeks so that we just have a nice pop of color into my face because it's a very gray day today. Very nice. See? I'm just tapping it and it's applying the color in the area where I targeted to apply it. And that's just right there on top of my cheekbones. Fantastic. I love this. Love this brush. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so now I'm going to be using this liquid eyeshadow from Lisa Eldridge, and the reason why is because I saw on Lisa's was it Instagram post or Insta story that she came out with new colors for her liquid lyrics eyeshadow. So I'm going I think I need to play around with them some more. But anyway, so I have here the detail brush, and I'm just going to use this to apply the color all over my eyelids, as you guys can see. Let me just move closer. So it's actually able to apply the product extremely well into the eyelid. And if I want to be more precise, I am now applying the color well into my crease. And in a very gentle back and forth motion, I'm just trying to build the shape for my eyes. Okay, so it's very easy and it's like that, and I think I'm done. So let me just blend it out some more. Okay, very good. So I wished Sonia released this brush set way earlier because looking at them now here on my table and the way that it's applying color into my face and into my eyes, this would have been a perfect travel set for me to go to Spain to do my friend Maricar's makeup, because it's like, very effective and you can use it in more ways than one. And they work well with a variety of formulas, especially the brushes with synthetic fibers. They're very, very effective. And in like a few strokes, I'm able to apply and blend out color extremely well and extremely fast. Okay, so let me just build up the intensity here in the outer V portion. Amazing, look at that. Pop, pop, pop. Well blended, well applied. Fantastic. I love this brush. Oh my gosh, it's a very nice set. And like, I know like I'm not so familiar with the volume 1 set, because ever since I like when I saw the price and I knew that I couldn't purchase it, I like push it to the back of my head, so I don't know what type of brushes are there. But like frankly, depending on your makeup style, especially if you just like one and done eyeshadows like this, and if you prefer like light makeup and you don't use like multiple products and multiple colors in one makeup application, this is actually a very nice brush set to have. Okay, so now I'm just gonna add some definition on the eyes. So I have here one of the Viseart Petit Mats. So this is in warm. So I'm just gonna pick up this very nice, like maybe neutral kind of a brown color. I'm gonna tap the excess here on the pan, and I'm just gonna apply a little bit of the color here onto my crease, just for some emphasis. And I'm also trying to see if the crease brush will actually disturb some of the shimmer that we have here on the eyelid, because sometimes when a crease brush is very, very like resilient and it has like super major blending ability, it actually disturbs the shimmers that you have in your cream or liquid eyeshadows, and that sometimes makes all of those glitters fall on top of your cheeks. I don't really see any fallout of the glitters made by the brush, so which is actually great, and which also is tantamount to the formula of Lisa Eldridge's Liquid Lyrics eyeshadow. So I'm also seeing that the crease brush is also actually able to blend out the liquid eyeshadow a little bit, like to the outer edges of the eye, which is actually great. And this Petit Mat is again a matte. This crease brush is actually able to blend out the color and to spread it out extremely fast and extremely easy. Okay, so I'm just going to remove the excess liquid lyrics here on a microfiber towel, and I'm just going to pick up the same color here, and then I'm just going to apply a little bit of it here in the outer V portion, just to add some emphasis in that part and just to bring out like dimension and depth in that part of the eye. Fantastic. Oh, by the way, did you see on Sonia G's post on her Sonia G Brushes Instagram page, I think? She she put a little bit of some like behind the scenes photos on how her mini Keyaki brushes were made, and I was so amazed by that, because like these are things that we don't really see. And although when I went to Hiroshima during like the 2019 brush festival, and I was able to go to Chikuhodo, and I was able to see how they manufacture and process their brushes, seeing them in pictures, like it just puts everything in perspective. It also like gives us like a nice visual kind of a input in our brain on how these brushes are actually made, because like with Japanese companies, they're very secretive with their processes. So to see something like that being posted is like, oh wow, they trust Sonia enough that she's actually allowed to post it. All right, so as you guys can see, these two brushes is actually enable you to create this very nice like well blended eyeshadow application look, liquid and matte eyeshadows. So at least we now know that in using these two brushes, you can create nice soft looks. Now I also read, I think on Sonia G's post about the mini Keyaki set a few weeks ago, that you can actually use the detail brush to apply lip color if you want to, but To me, I don't like using fluffy brushes like this because especially if you want to apply a very precise line or like lip line on your lipstick, this might prove quite difficult to use. But if you like those very nice Korean style like lipsticks, like those, the ones that have very like blurred out edges, this is actually very great to use. And of course you can use this to apply like highlighter in the inner corners, or here in the brow bone area, or even here on the nose, things like that. So at least we know that even if this is a mini Keyaki set that works for traveling, you can actually use this in any way that you want to. And as we all know, size doesn't matter, but it depends on how you use it. Alright, so that's it for me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed me showing you how I would use the Mini Keyaki Set Volume 2 from Sonia G. If you have any more questions about all of the products that I used today, my foundation, eyeshadow, whatever, if you have any more comments about the Sonia G Mini Keyaki Set Volume 2, please let me know down in the comments box. And please, if you have this, I'm sure a lot of you have had this way before I did. Please let me know down in the comments box which is your favorite to use on a daily basis. Alright, so that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye, you guys. Thank you, Sonia G.